Okay, so can you explain the difference between the evolution of dogma slash doctrinal development as opposed to Hegelian dialectical views in Marx, Hegel, and maybe Heraclitus? Yeah, when it comes to Hegelianism, they have a view which is basically you have the, everybody's heard of this. You have the thesis, you have the antithesis, and the synthesis. And Hegel viewed history as basically two opposing incorrect views would somehow be meshed together in various different iterations until it came to his philosophy. When it comes to the view of doctrinal development, or when it comes to the view of the evolution of dogma, the development in doctrinal development isn't a synthesis between two opposed errors. Rather, you have the Catholic faith, which is true, and that apostolic deposit has always been there. And then you have errors outside of the Catholic faith fighting against it. And then this forces us to clarify even further what we already believe. So with the Hegelian dialectic, what you have is you have something new arising out of old errors. But for us, that was always there. And it's really us just going into what's called the virtualities of the system. We're drawing forth conclusions which are solidly contained in the premises of the faith. We're clarifying what we already believe, et cetera, et cetera. And when it comes to the development of doctrine, a lot of people maybe I'll play my little ad after this because I do have a book that I reprint on St. Thomas's view of the development of doctrine. The development of doctrine, it wasn't something invented by John Henry Newman in the 19th century. That's completely ridiculous. By the time of Newman, for centuries already, this had been an explicit topic of discussion as a point of within treatises De Locis or on the theological places or on the theological virtue of faith. This had already been an explicit locus of discussion. And when you read Newman's letter to Cardinal Perron, what you see is that Newman actually developed his own view through reading Suarez. He was reading. I don't agree with Suarez's view of development of doctrinal and some secondary points, but Newman was drawing forth his view of the development of doctrine, which I think in many ways, especially in his essay, which he wrote still as an Anglican, has some imperfections to it. But he drew it from Catholic authors, and Catholic authors had already been speaking about this for centuries at that point. So this was already a common locus of discussion. And even St. Thomas, he discusses this as well. The best long book on this is going to be Father Francisco Marine Sola. Let me find Gilby's book because that's the one that I reprint. But that's a shorter one that you can more easily read in like an afternoon or two. But it's a brief introduction to the development of doctrine according to the mind of St. Thomas. So I'll put a link in the live chat and I'll put it on the screen. So if any of you guys want to get the just copy and paste the Amazon link, you can find it. Okay.